Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back. How you guys doing? Hopefully you're doing good. This is gonna post so much later than the day that I'm actually recording this, but it's gonna be a nice, lengthy, rambly episode. Slightly journal entry style, but I'm mostly kind of multitasking here. Doing like a journal entry style podcast post instead of actually doing the journaling, but I'm probably not gonna dive into every single deep thing on the face of the planet. It's in my head, just because that's, I don't know, like, it's in my mind. I think some stuff is fine to stay in my head and not to necessarily share with the entire internet. But I'll go about as far as I feel like. So I'm hydrating. 7:14 a.m. on a Sunday. I've been up since about 6:15 a.m. So a little late for me, a little late rising. I'm noticing as the sun is coming up at different hours in the morning, the sunset time is shifting a little closer towards 7 p.m. I have to appreciate one thing, not one thing only, but, being raised with, this culture surrounding, like, the Sabbath, the Friday sundown, the Saturday sundown. One thing that always kind of keeps me, I don't know if grounded would be the word, but it just kind of keeps me a little bit focused on maybe the bigger picture of things. Tends to be this whole, like, Friday sundown, the Saturday sundown, like, just knowing when the sunset times are, just in general, through the week. It kind of does something, like, for me anyways, like, and I guess that's maybe where I'll start, is kind of, with the end of the previous week that led into Saturday. Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. That's about as far as I've gotten so far, because I just woke up on Sunday. So, last week, I was making a lot of changing decisions, just because I was, I do that. Like, almost every week, I kind of take at least once a week. That's, like, at the least. I need way more than that, but I take at least once a week to just sit down and do a deep dive, and, like, it's honestly probably the most uncomfortable part of my week, so of course I avoid it and try to maybe only do it once sometimes, because it's easier just to do it once, right? Because it's not super comfortable. Like, I kind of try to see what it is that I can kind of either challenge, or I don't even like using the word challenge. I don't know, it sounds so, like, aggressive, but I'd say sometimes I do kind of take, like, an aggressive approach with myself, because it's just, like, I don't think it helps to take an aggressive approach, but sometimes I do, just probably just out of frustration of things. I'm just like, look, you gotta, like, get this going, but, like, I took some time off work multiple times during August, because of a lot of things I was dealing with, just trying to get, like, a cycle and balance going in my life. And I was just like, I'm not gonna wait for, like, a weekend or whatever. I'm just gonna make my own days off and just, like, take them, because, like, they're mine and I need to. And I was, like, falling into some habits that I was like, let me just nip this right away. Like, I already went through, like, 2 days of just, not really making the best of decisions. And then I was like, okay, like 2 days, all right, 2 days, like I need to take a break. So I did. I took a break, and it helped. I got to like reflect and do a lot of like reorganizing. How I kind of look at things, and so I went into those days, kind of like noticing the difference and kind of where I was trying to shift my attention. I definitely noticed the difference after taking that break of the choices that I started making and kind of where my motivation was going. And I know that I do have this kind of process, and a lot of these topics, I'm going to break them down later on in a more organized way and put them into categories that make sense. But I mean, this is kind of my brainstorming process. I was basically looking at, all the things that just weren't working for me and the choices I was making, because sometimes I'm literally just moving so fast, that I don't really take time to just be like, whoa, like what just happened? Like how is it already night again? How is it already the next morning again? Like how is it already, like literally, like, I can go through like a couple weeks like that. And my lifestyle honestly is so much slower than most people's. Like I work remotely. I wake up, I'm just like, my computer's right there. I just log in, I start working. Most of my weekdays are spent working. Most of my energy surrounds work, whether or not I'm actually physically working for the 8 hours or, trying to get my rest and relaxation and mind in a certain headspace so that I can focus at work, or trying to unwind from working. A lot of my energy is spent around this job. And so, not this job, but, my 8-hour work shift, a lot of my energy goes into that. And I notice how much energy I need to spend on myself. And it's like, usually it's, I don't really have that too organized. So I kind of get it when I can, kind of thing. And then, don't spend a lot of time of my free time kind of like actively, trying to kind of, deal with stuff. I just kind of like avoid it because I'm like, I don't want to actually deal with this. I just want to avoid it. And I mean, I'm not trying to go into too many details because I feel like it goes on to this negative rant, but it's really just kind of like my perspective of things. Sometimes it's kind of my thought process on a lot of things that go on in my head. And I really try to think about like the things that I don't like, or that I tell myself that I don't like, or that I tell myself I don't have energy for, or that I tell myself I don't want to do. Like, it's kind of like a weird thing, because it's like there's always another part of me that's like, well, I do want to do this. And then there's other parts that are like, but I don't, so, but really my focus goes towards what I don't want to do. And it just kind of, it just becomes this like, okay, when there's so many topics that are like that, like, cleaning up in the house, certain places, or like, cooking healthy, or like getting more exercise, or, just like the basic stuff, sleeping on time. I don't have a problem with waking up early, I can tell you that much. Like, that's the one thing that I think, not the one thing, but that is one of the things that I think is maybe a benefit in my life, is that I do have this perception of waking up early that for some reason it does make me feel better about myself. Like, not like better than other people, but I guess it's maybe like messages I got maybe growing up, or kind of just like messages I got like, from people around me, and just kind of my household, how I grew up. Like, we, like I mentioned before, we always had stuff to do in the mornings, even on weekend mornings. And, it was very rare to find people sleeping past like, I mean, if school starts at 8, in church, you'd have to be there 9 or 9:30. In sports, we probably left the house at like 6:30 sometimes to set up by the 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock time or whatever. Like, I feel like it was 6:30. It may have not been that early, because I actually don't remember ever waking up when it was still kind of dark out. So it must have been later, but it probably felt early. So maybe like 7 or 8 we used to wake up. It was early. It was like there would still be like morning dew on the benches. Like, we'd have to like wipe off the benches sometimes, and like, yeah, there was morning dew on stuff. So it was early enough, that the Southern California sun didn't come out, and like all the dew wasn't evaporated yet. Like, the grass was still wet, like for the soccer field and all. Like, it was early. It was early on Sundays. And I know people, my friends used to complain when they would come over to my family's house on the weekends, and we'd do like sleepovers and stuff, and they'd be like, you guys wake up so dang early. Like, we always were up by like breakfast, because we would always eat breakfast on the weekends, mostly together. So we were always awake, yeah, there were occasions when, when we got older, we would sleep in and stuff, like when we weren't doing sports league or when we weren't going to church and stuff like that. But we always kind of woke up early. And it was something I kind of noticed that like a lot of families don't really do. It's kind of like, well, there's like a time to things. So it's like the person doing the dishes doesn't want to wait till like 1 p.m. to do the breakfast dishes. Like my brother was always up. He was awake studying before people would wake up. I'd hear somebody wake up, go in the kitchen. I'd wake up, I'd get hungry, because you start getting hungry because you eat at a certain time of day. We were always up. We were always up early. Like, I wouldn't say 100% of the time, but we would wake up early. And, the more people I came across, I kind of found that was kind of something that people found as a positive thing, I guess. Like, I don't really think that most people in American society look at people who wake up early and are like, oh yeah, like that person is like, lazy, or like, just like their life is so like unbalanced or whatever. Like, I think on the surface it's a good impression to be up early in the morning. And I just naturally wake up early too. Like, even if I try to go back to sleep, a lot of my energy bursts are first thing in the morning. Now, I'm gonna get into why that can be kind of a bad thing sometimes for me, but I'm trying to work on that. But yeah, like that was basically last week. The parts of last week that were probably the hardest challenges of mine were, that I took off days to try to get my whole like caffeine thing resolved, and then I kind of went back to it. I don't know if I even mentioned that, but I kind of went back to it, and I don't know if I even noticed that I did until like Saturday morning. I realized that I did. So last week I was trying to just kind of get that balanced out, because it's one of the major things that kind of like makes my energy either consistent, or I kind of have like a lot of dips in my energy. And I think Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, definitely Friday, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I was just having these like energy dips. So I think Wednesday and Thursday, the coffee that I had was that UCC coffee that had that kind of like that sweetener. I can taste it in there. It's that artificial sweetener. I got it from the coffee from the Japanese market. It's in like a plastic kind of square bottle container, and it's pre-made, pre-sweetened. Now, it looked black, so I didn't read about the sweetener. I just picked it up off the shelf. I don't know. Sometimes when I go in certain stores, yeah, I get a little, like, it's a little nerve-wracking for me. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I get, like, in my head about stuff. Like, I've shopped at this store since I was, like, a kid, but I don't recognize any of the workers anymore. And it's kind of like, culturally, like, usually it's only Japanese people who shop there. And I get a little, like, I'm not nervous around Japanese people. That's not what it is. It's just, I've, not at that store even, but I've had experiences in certain ethnic markets. I mean, yeah, the white stores, like, every store is like a white store, let's be real. Like, every store has the white people in it. Like, most of the businesses are run in my area that are majority white people running it. But, I get a little, like, nervous in some stores sometimes because I don't want people to think that I'm, like, stealing stuff or whatever. Like, because I don't steal stuff out of stores. Like, I'm literally there because I'm buying stuff. But, I went and I got that coffee. I think I got some sushi and some, like, other like, bento. I don't remember what I got, like, honestly. Like, I think that was the same day I got a couple items. But I got coffee, and I was drinking that coffee up through Thursday. But I didn't know that it was black. It was black with sweetener. And I tend to just have my coffee black and no sweetener. And, this week I have been eating more sugar than usual. I don't like it. It's just like, okay, it's here, it's readily available. I'm just gonna eat this because I don't want to go out of my way to go get different groceries. I don't want to spend more money to order different groceries. Like, let me just eat what's in the house. So I did that through Tuesday, I think it was like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And, I was getting this weird anxiety. Like, I mean, I'm not unfamiliar with anxiety, but I mean, it was not pleasant. And I didn't drink that much coffee, so I say. But I really maybe wasn't tracking it that much. Like, I think one day I had a cup of tea, and then I had some coffee. One day I had like half a cup of tea and a little bit of coffee. Still had the anxiety. One day I had, I think, a lot of, maybe more coffee than I thought I had on Thursday. But I noticed I was just like not feeling good. Just like really tense, just really like I do a lot of breath work, so there is this kind of like tension that I notice that comes with like high anxiety levels for me, that like unless I go to sleep and then I wake up again, literally I haven't found the method yet to really get rid of it. And that happened at least twice, Thursday and Friday, I think. At least Friday was the worst, but yeah, like I was just like, what the hell? Like, because I felt like I wasn't drinking that much coffee, but also when I'm kind of just like on the go, and I'm just, well, on the go as in the house working, I'm not really focusing. Like, I drink sips of coffee, like a little bit, like maybe like a centimeter deep worth of coffee at a time, but I don't remember how many times I actually refilled it. So it may have actually added up to more than what I thought I was drinking. I try to have some coffee before breakfast. If breakfast gives me a little bit of a crash, maybe a little coffee after that. And then usually around after lunchtime. My lunchtime shift is because I eat like a snack around like 11 or so. Because usually with breakfast, I don't really have carbs. I just eat like eggs and veggies and fruit, and sometimes I'll have some like vegan, like Morningstar vegan bacon. It was just I think I mentioned this before, but I think, wasn't Lucifer called the Morningstar? I don't know. That kind of always was confusing for me. I don't know. I really don't know. we'll get back to that maybe some other time. But okay. So that was kind of the challenge, and then Friday comes along, and that was my first day that I had a bulletproof coffee again, with a bunch of eggs. I made a lot of eggs, left half of them for my mom because it was too much. I think she got these extra large. I think they're from First Street brand eggs. I think they're from Smart and Final, and I did not like the flavor of them. Shout out to my mom for shopping. Like, I hate shopping, so anyone who's gonna do it, God bless them. I hate shopping. But those eggs didn't taste good to me. When eggs are kind of like pungent and they've got that flavor that's just like not so fresh. Like, they didn't taste good to me. It was like, I was like, and I made 3 of them, and they're extra large, so they were massive eggs, and it made like a whole full plate worth of eggs, and it added like some garden tomatoes that we have from our garden, and I was like, it was kind of like making me almost not gag, but I was like it was not pleasant feeling to eat that. And I do eat eggs like almost every day, but those, I don't think I'm gonna eat any of those. I'm gonna wait till my folks finish those off, because I don't want to eat them. They kind of gross me out. I got really used to like the organic eggs from like Sprouts and some other markets, and then eating like those eggs that were just like not feeling too fresh. I was like, and I think it did make my stomach feel really weird, and then the bulletproof coffee made my stomach feel kind of weird. Like, by 11, I literally had to like take a break, and I was like laying down because I was so like, I felt so gross, like my stomach felt so gross, like, and like and I noticed, what days, let me see, what days was work. Yeah, when we came into the new month, Thursday and Friday, I eased into the week, and, I was like, I can't even do, like, the client calls yet. Like, a lot of my clients I talked to towards the end of last month, and so it got really hectic there near the end of the month, and then because I was taking all those days off, I wasn't really done with my work by like the first week or 2 weeks of the month. I kind of had more work goals I had to reach, so I was still kind of doing that up to the wire, and then I just started feeling really like Friday my energy was just like not where I needed it. Like, it physically just didn't feel good. Like, my stomach was like a little bit like irritated, but I laid down. It was like 11 o'clock, and like I laid down and like rested a little. I wasn't like sleeping, but I was like laying there, and then once I noticed my stomach felt better, I kind of like got up and was working more, and like, so I did like 2 days of almost just like research and incoming calls, like, which isn't a lot, but it's like I literally couldn't do too much more. I mostly like scheduled a whole bunch of rides and stuff, and did a lot of research for like job support and housing support for people. I just couldn't. I was like, I just can't really do any sessions today. Honestly, I was just like, I'm kind of getting to a place where I'm like forced to be working where I should probably have days off, but I'm just like, that's kind of how Friday felt. But Fridays are a challenge for all of us. I think I mentioned, Thursday we had that meeting with the supervisor that kind of like filled us in about a lot of stuff. And so, or kind of gave us some questions to work with. And so then I started noticing how I was like feeling about certain stuff and my career path and all this kind of thing. I was just kind of like, all right, like, like, because I never really, other than like podcasting about it, and like I talk to my friends and family about it, but I don't really talk to my work about kind of how I feel about work, and that was the first time I got to kind of like verbalize some of the stuff that I noticed, coming up, like, that I was taking PTO because my energy and, just trying to like get things on track. And, it's really hard for me to kind of tell, you know, what I want to do with this job because I don't like it and the pay rate's not going to match my financial goals anyways. And with inflation as it is, the pay rate's really not going to cut it. I didn't say it in that many words, but I was kind of just alluding to all that. I can't really like make specific goals. I did have maybe more specific goals in the past, but currently I don't really have them as they were because, I don't really have them as they were because, things have changed drastically. So I can't really say, right now I'm kind of just hanging on and hanging out. That's kind of how I feel. I'm just like, doing my daily routines as I need to do them. And that's kind of where I leave things. And so, like, I'm having enough trouble with that, right? So, that's kind of how my, days are starting. And I'm kind of I noticed something that's weird that I can't really balance. Like, I noticed morning intermittent fasting. I don't know if you would consider it like if you have coffee or water to still be intermittent fasting, but maybe it is. Like, to me it kind of is. Maybe I know there is calories, but I don't really know the exact definition. But for me, with just like caffeine and water, that is the best energy that I have in the morning. Whether it's bulletproof coffee with a little ghee and some MCT oil in the black coffee, or if it's just straight black coffee and just like water, of course, on top of that. I think my brain is very sharp. It's very focused. But something happens when I start eating. My energy just starts like shifting all over the place. It's like a freaking, like, have you ever, I don't know, it's not that bad, but it feels like when I look back on it, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, you remember like when we were kids, and I don't even know if people even still have seesaws, where one person sits on one end and the other person sits on the other end, and you're just like, you kind of use your legs almost like in a squat position and push yourself up, and then the other person goes like down and then they push you up, and then like some of them were like nice seesaws and some of them were those large like wooden planks seesaws where you were like so far away where you'd be so high up in the air, and then like somebody would get you way up in the air and then they like get off of their end of the seesaw and just like bang you down onto the ground kind of thing. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like, okay, like I'm like up and I'm dipping and I'm up and I'm dipping and then I just like crash. Like, that's literally like, I can't think of anything, and then I'm just like, now I gotta recover from this. Like, I don't know. And I was kind of coming to a realization too, like, not that long ago, because I had a birthday and I was like, maybe it's an age thing and I do need to kind of maybe slow down a bit, because I do kind of still try to keep my 22-year-old lifestyle of just plowing through like every freaking thing in the way. And like, if I have to stay up late to do this, I will stay up late. If I have to skip this to do this other thing, I will do that. If I want to party my ass off, I will do that. Like, I think, with the partying end of things, I've definitely slowed that down. I've noticed that I'm like, I do not want to be partying like this anymore. It kind of hit me this year. I was just like, bro, like, I am done. Like, let's have the occasional, but like, I am not trying to spend like my full free time of the next 1 to 2 days in a recovery process, because I was out one night on a Friday night really late, and then I have to spend Saturday and Sunday recovering just so I can get to Monday. Like, I'm not trying to be there. That is not sometimes it is, actually. I feel like when I was doing things like that, though, it almost was more productive. In a way, it felt more productive because I was like, I would go with the momentum. It like still created a sense of energy, even if it wasn't like balanced to be all like hungover and stuff, but like it would still have like the momentum, like from the energy, from the memories, and just like being all pumped up all weekend, or all Friday or all Saturday or whatever. And then you like Sunday, those memories would still kind of like keep my motivation up to like the next couple days. Like I don't think I have anything that's like that, other than when I go to concerts. But I can't really, I mean, I could afford it, but it's not the wisest choice to be affording to go to concerts like every single weekend. But being in LA, it's definitely a way more possible thing to do because there's like plenty of concerts that would be worth what I want to spend my money on, that I would definitely go by myself. I don't even care, like, I would definitely go alone. But I was just so, like, it wasn't a bad week. It's just, I took days off, and then Thursday, Friday, I was still kind of feeling it. But okay, so that's kind of all the 30-minute background, of the majority of things and how things were leading up to almost now. Friday night, I like from the time I was off work, so probably honestly like 10:30 at night, I was feeling so bad, like just anxiety wise. I was just like I just could not find any comfort. I was trying to like watch like shows to just like relax, like it was like Friday sundown hit, so I was just kind of like, let me just unwind. Once dinner was kind of done and ready, I just kind of ate like by myself real quick, and I was just like, I just want to relax. I did the same thing Thursday. I was kind of just like, I just need to like isolate myself and just like eat and chill and not be like distracted by other people talking to me, or because I'm just like, I'm trying to be nice, but then like when I'm feeling pretty shitty, I'm really not all that nice of a person. So it's just like my irritable energy. I don't think that other people need to like deal with that. And I feel like I explain it enough, but it's like I feel like the people who I live with don't really get it. They're just kind of like, oh well, I'll just keep on like talking about things, and I'm just kind of like, no, like I just need to just like be in my own head, and for me to not have to listen to other people. But I don't know, whatever, it is what it is. But so I kind of escape. I'm just like, I'll just leave the room and go be by myself so that I'm not like getting all like irritated with people. And so I just kind of was like doing my own thing, eating, watching shows by myself, just kind of chilling, trying to just like feel a little bit better, but I wasn't. And then like the more tired I got, so it's kind of like a combo of like insomnia with like this caffeine crash. Like when the tiredness kind of kicks in, because I did have another kind of energy crash around 3 p.m. or so on Friday, so that was like 2 times, like around 11 and then around 3, that I was like, ugh, like I just had to lay down again. And I don't remember specifically what it was, but I think I was getting drowsy and like falling asleep. I can't remember what it was exactly, but I was just like, it'll make more sense for me to like sit here and just kind of like shut my eyes for a second. And mind you, I'm not sleeping. I can't really just like sleep like that, like, so I'm not like falling asleep, but I'm just kind of taking, like, honestly, my breaks were longer than they needed to be. Like, I wasn't even meeting productivity these days. I'm just kind of like, whatever, like, like my breaks were longer than they needed to be. And then somebody from some other insurance, case management called me at like 3:45 or like 3:30 something, and I was like, shoot, like once that call came in, like I kind of had to, like my energy just perked right up, you know? So I think it's kind of like the low stimulation too. Just sitting there calling people, like, you know, like not being in the mood to really be like calling people, because it's kind of on me. Like if we don't have scheduled appointments, it's kind of on me, like to call people. So, and then they call me if they actually need something. So, so yeah, I just wasn't feeling great. You know, I probably meditated for a good, I don't know how long. It was at least 90 minutes or so of meditating, probably another 30 to an hour of like breath work. Still wasn't feeling like that much better, but I definitely was focused on like the physical sensations I was experiencing. It was really hard for me to get out of that, and I think the more I was kind of like focused on like the physical tension, the more I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like I was just like, you know, and like I think those days I went to the beach and did meditating at the beach, like after work, like after work, not right after work, but like before sundown, like not as before the sun actually set, because I know the beach, that's probably the most crowded part of the evening is sunset. But just ending the day like at the beach for me when the sun, like, you know, we're on the west coast, so you can see the sunset, like, you know, beyond the horizon, and just kind of like watching the day just kind of like fully end. And like I like to be there for that, even if I'm not at the beach, like just being like outside during that time period, and just like using like the sunset time is just kind of like, okay, just let me just quickly reflect on the day before I like go into doing the last thing I'm gonna do for my evening, you know. So I was kind of just like just reflecting on stuff, and just like I feel like when I'm reflecting, it is easy to focus on all the stuff that I'm like, okay, I should have changed this, and I should change this, and I should change that, and I didn't do this so well, and this didn't come out perfect, you know. And it's just like, okay, like not everything is that bad, you know. Like, I mean, I'm functioning enough that, but I'm just trying not to fuck up too much. That's what I'm trying to like do. Like that's where my focus is. Like I don't want to get to a point where I'm actually just like not doing well, performance wise. Like, you know, like performance wise, I do kind of like pride myself on being good at it. I'm good at my job. I'm good at what I do. You know, nobody complains about my work ethic. I don't want people to complain about it. Yeah, I'm slow with stuff, but you know, I do good work, and I like to do good work. And lately, with the way it's been such a challenge to try to balance everything, I'm not meeting my own standards. I mean, I'm still able to meet my job standards, because for me, the standards that my job has are maybe lower than what I would consider my highest performance. So I can reach them. It's just the way I'm reaching them is a little bit like pushing stuff off, you know, until I have the momentum and energy to kind of focus on it. And then I just tackle everything when the energy's there. Like, and that's not usually the way I do things. Usually, you know, I'm in this like override system in my head where it's just like, it's the work day, I'm pushing, and that's just it. And then there's something about me that's totally lost that, like, and I don't think it's affecting anybody but me. I don't think it affects the bosses. I don't think it affects the clients, you know. I don't think it affects anybody. It's just me being impacted by this. And like I mentioned, like a lot of my day is spent around this job. It's spent, you know, before the job, trying to prep, you know, for the job. And then during the job, trying to do the job. And then after the job, recovering from the job. And it's like, dude, like this damn job takes up so much energy from me. And at the end of the day, I'm like, what am I really doing? You know, like, I mean, yeah, it's helping people. We're actively helping people. So many people are getting housed, even though it's not all of them. So many people's physical health is improving just by us just like making sure they can get the rides to their appointments and engaging with their doctors. And like, we're literally almost like saving lives. These are people who go into the ER all the time because they're having emergent needs, but they're not really following up with their providers at all because all the other stuff going on. Like, I feel like they're kind of like in a rut. I can definitely relate to it, like, but luckily I don't have so many like health issues like that like are just like, but I can kind of see that it could go that direction. Like, if I let things get off track for so long, I could easily have a liver and kidney and all these other issues. But I'm noticing that's coming up a lot. Kidney failure, that is becoming a little more common. We did have a fentanyl issue, like, that seemed to be, I don't remember when, but that was a while ago, and now we're having more like kidney related stuff. We had some issues too where like people weren't able to get mental health providers. Now we're having a lot of doctors not using the insurance, not taking the insurance, and so a lot of our clients are having to switch to different doctors, and a lot of doctors are retiring. So we're kind of getting into another phase of things. And then the homelessness, situation is out of control. People are definitely getting displaced, unable to afford what they need for their mental health. Their physical health is kind of on the decline. And with COVID, it's still like the rises of COVID cases is kind of bombarding the ERs to a point where like people aren't really wanting to go in to get seen or are avoiding going in to get seen because of COVID. And so it's really a huge challenge. And it's really a big challenge, just the system of things is just shitty. And we're not really adapting to it. Like, we still have the same protocols, the same methods of managing things, and I'm like, we need to be changing as these things are changing. And it's hard for me to wrap my head around, like, okay, how do I change like my own kind of like approach to things as I'm noticing this other stuff. Like, I feel like certain stuff I'm gonna have to prioritize, even though my job isn't prioritizing it. Like, they're not saying to prioritize it, but I think with my own caseload, there's certain cases that I'm gonna have to prioritize because it's more like preventative. We do a lot of preventative stuff, and I don't know. I don't really have the energy to like strategize about any of this, so I'm not gonna spend my weekend doing that. But something's gotta give. So Saturday morning, I wake up feeling pretty good. I have been sleeping relatively early, honestly, probably before midnight, probably around 11 at the latest, probably 10 something. I mean, like, I've had a few days now, even Saturday night, like, when lights out before 10 p.m., like, it was like 9:45, and I was like, I need to start falling asleep. Like, I wanted rest. And, Saturday morning, it's kind of my reflective day where I try to plan out my weekend, and I try to use my weekend to plan out my week. And so Saturday, sorry, I'm a little distracted. Right before 8 p.m. on Saturdays, traffic starts to pick up. Sundays, traffic starts to pick up. And so I'm noticing the echo of the highway traffic right now. This whole time I've been awake, there was like almost no traffic, and now I can just hear all the cars. But I do like waking up and being early, being up and awake early. So yeah, Saturday, I was like, no caffeine day. I was gonna actually have a pre-workout and go to the gym. That didn't happen. I watched a lot of sports. I watched U.S. women's Nigeria beat I mean, US beat Nigeria in a friendly. I watched Man City, well, some of Man City. I watched some of SDSU against Arizona State. That I wasn't like too interested, but I was like, ooh, they have the new stadium. That was the first use of the new SDSU stadium, and I'm kind of missing San Diego, and I've never been to that stadium yet, and I was kind of like wanting to see and hear what they had to say about it. So they kind of showed some little views of like the stadium and talked about like how they used some of the old pieces and how the team, SDSU was actually all the way up here in LA in Carson for their home games. And I'm like, dude, they're saying it's like 115 miles away. I'm like, yeah, that's about right. From like La Mesa area to Carson, it's about 115 miles. It's freaking far. And for college students, I mean, it's not like you got all the time in the world to be like traveling all over. That's like a 2 hour minimum, probably closer to 3 hour, 3 hour drive one way. They're saying that one of the players mentioned that that it was like cool when you would win, but it's like you don't even have time to celebrate because you'd have to come all the way back, So like I think they're happy to be home, but it's I don't know. It's I don't know. I'm missing San Diego. I am. But it was cool to see. There's a new stadium. Like, yeah, and then Saturday I was kind of telling one of my friends. I was like, yeah, I didn't really drink a lot of coffee Friday, but I was having like some really strong anxiety. And then I kind of looked at, because I kept the coffee cup out. Because like I mentioned, like I just kind of had dinner on Friday and just kind of was like, I don't want to be around anybody. So I didn't really even fully clean up. Like I kept the coffee cup on my desk. And it was kind of purposeful because I was like, I want to get back to this later and see like how I'm doing on my caffeine intake. And I thought I didn't even drink half of that cup of coffee. And guys, I drank more than half of that cup of coffee. And, I was a little unfocused Friday morning and ended up accidentally breaking one of my favorite coffee cups. And this was like while work had already started, so I was like rushing to clean up because there was coffee in it and there was like ceramic, so I was like cleaning the ceramic up and cleaning up the coffee. And my schedule got a little thrown off because my mom was like gardening, so I was kind of just like, why is the stove hot and why is there like a hot cup of coffee on the table that I didn't make, because I'm used to being the only one up. And it turned out she was up like watering the yard and stuff because it was such a hot day, or it's going to be such a hot day. Well, it was already pretty hot by 8 a.m. So I was like, okay, like, and then that's kind of what I realized. I was like, okay, like, I drank more than half of that cup of coffee, and I made it like, that was my first bulletproof coffee that I'd had in a while. So I had that cup, on my desk. The one after I cleaned up the one that I accidentally broke. So I was rushing to make the coffee. I wasn't really focused on like how much I was diluting it, because the brand is Chameleon. It's called Chameleon Cold Brew. Concentrate. So it's a concentrated coffee. And I'm thinking about it too. I'm like, the cannabis that I vape is a concentrate as well. And I'm kind of like, maybe I should not deal with all these concentrates. But the reason why I got that coffee was because I didn't want the one with the sugar. And this one has no sugar. It's just slightly like, I think this one's slightly vanilla flavored. But I wasn't paying attention to how much I was diluting it. You're supposed to do, according to its instructions, 2 parts coffee, 1 part water. And it's in a glass bottle and I keep it in the fridge. So all I really have to do is pour it into a cup and then get some of the bottled water that we have, and I just pour that on top of it. Coffee's done, coffee's ready. But I heated it up a little bit because I was adding the ghee and the MCT oil. And, I must have been sipping on that for a while. So I think that combination of like the weird stomach issue and then like because I was having like oatmeal, like instant oatmeal, like the apple cinnamon instant sugary oatmeal. I had ordered some stuff on Instacart that early morning. And based on what I ordered, I was, just trying to get some quick breakfast stuff. So I ordered a couple protein shakes. Well, the reason why I was ordering it too was because it was like the beginning of the month. Not the very first, but, the beginning of the month, that's when I use my credit card. So I use, just that for that card, it's the one that has a limit. It's a low, like $200 limit. I don't need more than that. And so that's, why I was using it, was because it was the beginning of the month, and I was like, okay, well, I don't want to be drinking that sugar coffee anymore, so I'll give that to my parents, and then I'm gonna drink just the black coffee. So I ordered it that morning along with 2 protein shakes, the Owen brand ones, and the container of blueberries, a container of a container of blueberries. I was gonna get Perfect Bars and some overnight oats, or just some dry oats. We must have dry oats though, because my mom used them the other day, but I didn't know, and so like they didn't have all the stuff available at Sprouts when they delivered it, and so I ate the instant oats that we had in the house that had all the sugar. So that wasn't the day that I had the eggs. That must have been Thursday that I had the eggs then, because Friday I had the oatmeal and I put berries in it. I didn't eat the whole bowl of it, but it was just 1 packet of oatmeal. So I ate less than a packet of oatmeal. Some berries. I ate some berries around 11 again. And I was struggling early, but I had that bulletproof coffee that I drank more than half of the cup during that day. And that was the day that my energy kind of dipped the most significantly, and the day that my anxiety from like the caffeine crash was just like not pleasant. And so I basically just had to sleep it off, and then I woke up Saturday, but Friday night, once the sun went down, I was kind of like, that was kind of like the beginning of a reflective period of my week. So that was kind of when the reflection was starting, and I was just like I can't even like do this because I just felt like shit. And then I kind of like I was watching videos and stuff. Like I think I recorded some podcast episodes. I don't remember. Like I had some topics that I was thinking about during work that I wrote down, and then I didn't get through all of them because like I think I started recording about this concept of the holy kiss, and then I kind of went on a tangent so long with that I never finished the other ones. Because I kind of been thinking about what was it? I have it written down. It was kind of like, okay, like about like ego and goals. So that's kind of something I'm still gonna record on, but just kind of those kind of topics, you know, um, what self-sabotage looks like, and how to kind of even recognize it and notice it and tell if it's kind of getting in the way. um, I was kind of talking to a childhood friend about it, what I kind of notice about myself, that there's kind of two things. um, and that one thing is, that I don't really execute on stuff. I'll finish stuff all the way to the end of what I need to do, and then I kind of have trouble just kind of pulling the trigger, if you will. And then that's a struggle, as well as you know not pushing myself to the limit, so that I have so much like recovery issues. It's like I kind of push too much, because I know that I can. So I do it, and then I just have to deal with it, and in the length, it takes like a lengthy amount of time to deal with it, because I go for so long without dealing with things, that then I'm like, okay, now I gotta take like multiple days to like deal with something. Instead of just like an hour meditation, it becomes like a 3-4 day long like self-care kind of period that I have to do, like to kind of get things balanced out. And it's kind of weird that it takes that long, but I mean, I really am trying to balance my days out. And September starts, the beginning of my snowboard training, so I can get my lungs prepared for the mountains and get my body ready to get sore and injured. um, I don't know, man. Last season, thinking back to last season, I got so many injuries last season. Injuries that I think I still honestly have, that weren't even like related to what I was doing. I think it was just from having like almost like a year or so of just like not having like that usual like intensive physical activity, and then getting older. Weight gain, like I'm not used to weight gain at the rate that I've experienced it in the past like pandy years. That's not like I've never like, yeah, I was really thin as a kid, and then probably my first stage of any kind of weight gain was probably when I stopped having to do PE every single day, on weekdays every day. So my senior year of high school, I wasn't gaining weight at like a noticeable rate. I was still playing sports on Sundays. But I don't think I noticed how out of shape I got until maybe my first year. No, my first year of grad school, I used to walk a lot. Either my second or third year of grad school, that was the first time I noticed gaining weight, in my life, because my clothes didn't fit, and I always had worn like the same size clothing for like years. Like I tell you guys a lot that I don't really shop a lot, and so I was wearing like the same freaking clothes for like years, and they had always fit me. And then all of a sudden I was like feeling like, okay, these clothes don't fit. Like once I went to put them on, and like it didn't go over like my thighs, like I couldn't, like my thigh area and like my waist area had definitely enlarged. And I was like, so I need to buy like bigger size clothing, because I was wearing like really fitted clothing back then, and the clothes didn't fit anymore. And so with that came the frustration of exercising becoming more of a chore that I didn't like. because before it was just part of my routine. I'd park far, I'd walk down hills and upstairs and carrying all my gigantic 17-inch monitor laptop and guitar and all this stuff. I'd do that coming back to the car. Like, I was walking a lot during the day. Even my first year of grad school, I was, for a long time I would take the bus. So once I got to campus, I was at Cal State LA, very hilly area. I'd walk all over those hills, all over, the outside of campus and stuff. And then in the campus, I'd take the stairs. I never really took the elevator. Like, I was in decent shape. Just from walking. I incorporating walking in my day. Just to save money. I realized that taking the bus was like cheaper. So I took the bus, and from where I was living, I wasn't living in I was living really close by, like El Sereno area. I was living right over there. So I would take the bus and walk, up the hill to where the house was that I was sharing with some people. And it was a big hill, and I could walk up that hill, like all the way straight up that hill, without having to stop. And so there's that. And I kind of fell out of shape. Got way too busy with school, way too busy with working. But I was usually able after school for like quite a period of time to like, go to the gym right after school or go to the gym right after work. Now, it wasn't daily all the time, but definitely when I moved to San Diego, I was like able to do that for a while, maybe like a year or so. I was pretty consistent. And then again, like maybe like, I fell off of it for like 3 years or 2 years or so. And then, once I started, working, I kind of went back into the gym again. It's like I always need that buffer between like work and then like when I get to the house. So, I would use that time again. And then that's kind of what I did. And then I went to like I would always snowboard. I think I didn't go, the longest I didn't go was maybe 2 years, 2 seasons. And yeah. But yeah, the seasons I was going during like grad school and stuff were like once or twice a year I would go. I didn't really go like more than once or twice. I would just go like once or twice a season. And then last season was the season that I went back up more than any other season, and more recently, because I was able to work remotely and not have to take so many days off just to go up. And I was fine with going, like I got a season pass, so it was fine to just go up for like a few hours. I didn't have to go up for like an 8-hour day, because I could stay there for like 3-4 days at a time, 2 days at a time, 3 days at a time, midweek. That was nice to do, to stay midweek. And then, but I did notice then that I started having a lot of like performance anxiety around like athletic stuff, and that kind of threw me, because I had never experienced that until last snowboard season. And when you think of it, like I started snowboarding when I was in like 8th grade, I think, on our class trip. I think it was my 8th grade year. I think my 7th grade year actually was the first time I skied. And then my 8th grade year, like, you want to be more like an LA kid, an LA teen, and like, snowboarding, like we're known for snowboarding, like it's, that's what people in LA snowboard. You were bored, a very bored, board oriented culture with like, I grew up around people with longboards and skateboards and, surfboards and skimboards. And like, we were always, even the people who couldn't really do it, you would at least dabble and try, and you knew about it. Like, I grew up in a city where it's like, it was, we had a surf team, like in high school, like it, and surf clubs and stuff. Like, nobody cared about, like, it wasn't like one of those schools where people care about like the football players and stuff. People cared about soccer and surfing. Like, nobody really cared about any other sports. And we're so close to the beach that like after school you just chill at the beach. Like, you go to the beach, you get used to doing all your exercise at the beach and going to the beach and being at the beach and hanging out. It was like if you're not at the mall, you're at the beach. That's basically what it was. And so, it was the outdoor space where you can hang out. It's free. It's right there. It's a walkable distance. And when you're a teenager, you don't mind walking 35 to 40 something minutes to just go like chill somewhere and then walking back home. Like, you have all the time in the world. So, it just started getting, this snowboard season really challenged my mind a lot. This last one did. And then physically I was like injured and didn't even know that I was injured, but I had like this weird back injury that just flared up, and like, I don't even know what I did, but I must not have properly stretched. I was not on my yoga game. I still thought I could do like a 15-minute yoga session and just like go on the mountains and just like do whatever, like my mobility wasn't there with like my hips, like my, my arms. Like, I had this shoulder injury. I don't know how the hell do you get a shoulder injury snowboarding? Tell me that. Like, it's like my left shoulder blade is injured. Even in April, it was injured when my friend wanted to come and do rock climbing, and we went to the rock gym, and I was like with one arm. This is like April of 2022. But it was like the very, very end of snowboard season. It was either April or May, but it was the very, very, very end of snowboard season. And so, I was kind of just, it's almost snowboard season again. So 2 more months. We got September, October, well, the majority of November, so almost 3 months. But I gotta be in decent shape in like about six weeks. And this is week 1, and it's I'm so in my head. I've taken more mental energy related to my workouts than I've used physical energy to do it. And so it's one of those other things that's like a time of year that kind of like keeps me kind of focused on like athletic things. I think I do get pretty depressed in the winter because like I'm used to the freaking sun. I don't like the weather to be cold. I don't like the rain. I can't go to the beach all the time. Like, I need the beach. I like always need the beach. I'm happiest when I get to go to the beach. I love the beach. I will talk about the beach all day long. Like, I just love it. Like, I love to just sit there. I like to be there. It's just where I'm probably the most comfortable in the whole entire city is at the beach. And specific beaches too. Like in San Diego, Mission will do, but I feel like it's so damn crowded. The beaches in San Diego to me are way crowded. I like the beaches in LA and like the South Bay area of LA, like San Pedro, like Cabrillo, and like, like Torrance, Redondo, Palos Verdes. Like, I'm into those beaches, like the ones where there's nobody there. The only people there are the ones who exercise. Like, there's not even hardly lifeguards there most of the time. Like, nobody's really at those beaches. It's just old people who live locally who are trying to get their exercise, and it's just chill. Or the surfers who are out in the mornings or in the evenings, and like otherwise, you never have to look for parking, nothing. Like, it's I don't even want to like out those beaches and have everybody just like swarming to them, but they're probably the better beaches in my opinion. um, just to chill, meditate, be there, not feel like overwhelmed by the process of just getting to the beach. So convenient, so beautiful, like, and then, yeah, so it's just like I'm really in my head about athletic things. It's really something I'm noticing is a new experience for me. And I don't even think it's an age thing. I think it's more so just because I've been off my game for a while. I mean, during the pandy, we did have a good roll of like tennis and like just shooting some baskets and having some casual like Wednesday. Whenever I have like a one day that I am gonna do something, at least I'll kind of train at least a little bit more up until then. And so that was something that I really enjoyed, was just having like the one day to play tennis. At least I knew I needed my cardio up. I needed to make sure my wrists were like feeling strong enough so I wasn't like too sore afterwards. Like I had little goals to work on to make sure I could do the Wednesday thing. And so, like it's kind of easier for me to just do stuff like that. But I do like some solo sports. The cool thing I like about solo sports is that I don't really need other people. Like snowboarding, something that I like to do with other people, but I really don't mind going on my own. Like I really don't mind at all. Like I love it enough. It's just like hiking. Like I can do it with other people, but sometimes I like to do it by myself when I just want to go at my own pace and like don't want to be like held to like expectations or whatever. Like sometimes when I hike, even I remember I would be like, oh, I want to go to the gym first and then just hike for like 20-30 minutes, like not even like a real long hike. But then it's like if you invite somebody, nobody wants to go hiking for 30 minutes, like it's like they want to go at least an hour, or like they want to do it for whatever need they're trying to meet. And sometimes I'm like really selfish with myself and just kind of wanting to do things for the reasons I want to do them, which I think is perfectly fine. And then, with snowboarding, it's kind of the same. I love sharing the experience with people. I don't care if they're way better than me or way worse than me or just scared to do it or don't like it or whatever. I will still be fine just going and having fun. And especially being like coastal for such a long time of the year, it is nice to have like a change of scenery that we don't really get. Like we don't get snow where I live, and so we have to go to the snow. So it is kind of an experience that I can't get in the city. And I go to it, and it's like certain times a year. But this last season was real weird for me because the season in Southern California is usually November to April. So November to April is usually when to go. I'm hoping to get over to Utah at least for one weekend. I kind of don't like weekends though because they're so crowded. I think I want to go more than one weekend, more than on a weekend. I want to take weekdays to go and travel to Utah. I didn't get to go to Solitude. I almost did. Didn't do it though. I don't know. I don't really know at all. But my mind needs to be on training for that because it's November to April that I will be able to do it, and I got to figure out the car situation for when I go up. I'm probably either gonna have to borrow or get a decent rental option because I don't know if I can be taking my car. It's I don't know. Like, I don't think it's a good idea. Like, I really don't think it's a really great idea to do it. Like, maybe if I'm at mountain high, and that's maybe pushing. That might be pushing. I don't know. I think it can make it, but it's just, like, it's a little scary. It's been having some major repairs this summer, and I don't really think I really want to risk it. I don't know. I might risk it because I know how I am, and I just get a little, like, adventurous sometimes. I'm like, fuck it, I just want to go, like, so I might, but I don't think it's a good idea. But I'm looking forward to it. It's a few months away, but just the process of getting from the condition I'm in now to the condition I need to be in. Last season I didn't condition at all, so I'll put it that way. And last season I got all kinds of weird ass injuries, and so I'm not gonna do that again. I will not do that again, especially because I'm still experiencing those injuries. You can tell I'm so bitter about this. Like, it's just like such a setback. I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, how is my shoulder blade still injuring? I didn't even fall on anything. My balance was actually surprisingly good. I broke in some new boots, so that was a nice feeling. I still have old gear though that I kind of keep just because, if people want to borrow my stuff, I want to have it available. I think I have a full setup though. I just need the bolts for the bindings, and then I think I have a full setup to share or let somebody borrow. So I think I've got a full setup. The board's a little small, but I mean, I don't think it really matters that much. It's free. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to rent it. It's free. I haven't rented in forever. I think when I was younger, rentals were like $25 a day for a full setup. I don't know how much they are now. They're probably like $45 a day. I haven't even checked, honestly, because I haven't had to rent in so long. I think my pass, I still got it in the $2.99 range with a $25 annual parking. I think that's how much I paid for the local pass for Mountain High. And then I had the Icon that was like expensive. It was real expensive. That one I had to defer for this season. Yeah, so that's kind of how I'm set up, for stuff, as far as just like the general what's going on. That's kind of where I want my focus to be, is on like the athletic stuff. And I mean, I'm making it harder than it needs to be, really. Like, it's not that hard to just go in the ocean and jump in the water. And like, to me, that's the easiest workout. You got the sand right there for the nice resistance with your cardio. You got the waves right there, and then you can just jump in the water and, swim around and like, practice balance. And like, the waves are heavy enough. I mean, I literally, some of the best workouts I've done, I've literally just been like, in the water and like kind of wade around in the water, like parallel to the shore, just kind of like not even really swimming, but swimming is a good one too. I mean, I think both of the gyms near me have pool access. I mean, I think that would just be the easiest thing for me, just to get back in the pool, just to get into the, what do you call it? The ocean. And like, I'm not a really good swimmer, but I like the muscle gain from it, and just how it helps with cardio. Like, it's just, for me, it's the best full body workout, and I actually like it. I find it relaxing, even though there is like the tension. I find it relaxing. For me, it relaxes me. And so I might actually just go jump in the pool, honestly. To me, that just sounds like the most logical exercise, that I'm kind of the most motivated towards. Because I was trying to, I was just like, I really don't feel like doing this other stuff. Like, I do yoga because it helps. I don't think I really like it. It's another form of like being in the mind that is just like sometimes, honestly, just like being in my head, it's tiring in here, guys. I mean, you can probably tell. I mean, those of you who, I'm glad people listen to the podcast and stuff, but I know, like, I get really, like, in my head about stuff, and I'm just like, I try not to be like on the negative end, but it's like, really, this is where how my head sounds, it's just like, it's a lot of questioning stuff, a lot of just like, like not really making moves on stuff, and just frustration with myself about things, and just being like, all right, like, come on, and I don't think my goals are too lofty, I'm just very impatient. I've kind of gotten into a bad rut of not liking to do the small consistencies every day and wanting to see results faster. But in reality, it's like, dude, like, you've been off your game a while. It's going to take a while to get back to where you want. Like, let's be real, And, it took Saturday, I did a lot of reflecting Saturday because it was like Sabbath time. Like, I reflect a lot. I watch sports a lot. Sports motivate me. I like to watch sports. It makes me feel motivated. But I kind of feel like I'm a little like tired this morning, I think. This morning I woke up in the brain drain phase. Like, I just woke up and my head was just, I was like, okay, I have a dream that I can remember that I almost captured, and then my head just went into this whole like thing of like, all right, let's start reminding you of all the stuff. I'm like, no, we're not doing this. We are not doing this today, I gave it like a couple minutes and I was like, no, fuck no, we are not doing this today. So I got out of that real quick and I was like, let me just get up. I'm already up. Get up, take a shower. This is probably like 6:15 a.m. on a Sunday. I'm up, showered. And now if I go to the beach or the pool, then like I'm gonna have to take another shower, but whatever. But I'm up, I'm showered. I'm kind of motivated. I haven't had breakfast. I did have a little coffee. It was just a little bit. Kind of a bit of a wake and bake morning from like 6:15 a.m. I mean, it's kind of wearing off a little bit now, but from like 6:15 a.m. Yeah, I mean, that's early for some weed, but I was like, whatever, it's Sunday. I don't work tomorrow either, so I'm chilling. I'm like, yesterday's sun was draining for me, so I was like, let me not deal with the sun. Let me not deal with the sun because it's draining, and I didn't want to be drained in the sun. But I think today is going to be a yoga and pool day. I would go to the beach. I mean, I could go to the beach now. Actually, this would be the best time to actually go to the beach and get in some exercise would be now. Because it's 8:36 in the morning, and yeah, the traffic's picking up, but it's not picking up for the beach. But I don't really know, guys. I don't really know what I want to do. The beach is easy when it's early. I'll put it that way. When it's early morning, the beach is the easiest place to go. Because it's right there. Nobody's at it. It's nicer to go later in the day. But it might be just best for me to go early. I might actually just do that. Just get up and go to the beach. The water's going to be freezing, but I might go jump in the water. I might not go jump in the water. I really don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't really know. Because I feel like the pool is a little harder to work out for me. Not harder, but like, you gotta go and have your change of clothes and all that. When I go to the beach, I can just jump in and then come back home, and then I'd have to shower again and all that. But like, that's a little bit easier time wise, even though I'm not really on a time constraint. Like, it's 8 in the morning. Oh my gosh. But I might I don't know. I just might. But yeah, yeah, I will try to make that decision swiftly, because the hotter it gets today, the less motivated I'm gonna be. It's getting hotter already. By 1 p.m. today, it's going to be 94 degrees. So I think I do need to get the heck out of the house pretty soon. Because then otherwise, once it gets too hot, I'm not going to want to drive anywhere, in all honesty. So, but yeah, eat, ocean, and then kind of get on with my morning. That's kind of what I might need to do here. But I don't know. I need to think it through a little bit, because I don't really know what I'm actually doing, to be honest. I did not think yet. So that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to get ready real quick and then pop over to the ocean and get going on that. Yeah, it'll be a start. It'll definitely be a start, but I need to get up. I need to get going. So, get something in my stomach, and then I don't know. I'm debating if I should do this on an empty stomach. I didn't even properly hydrate yet, so I don't think it's gonna lead to a good workout if I am not properly hydrated. But I can maybe do like a little bit of a workout. Maybe I'll do that, and then keep it light, keep like a workout light, and then focus more on like yoga when I get back home and cleaned up and eat and everything. Watch some sports, do some yoga. Just take it real easy today, so that I don't get injured, because I'm all old now and I can't just go on like a jog. Isn't that sad? That's kind of sad to say. I can't just wake up and go on a jog. That's kind of like that. I never thought that I would say that, that is a challenge. That would be a challenge for me, to wake up and go on a jog right now. So, that's not good. To me, that's not good. But that's just how it is, right? It's like, can't really do anything about it in a quick way. So I'm gonna go over to the beach before it gets way too dang hot, and before it gets too crowded, because people are gonna be wanting to go over there. And then I'll report back, and thanks for listening.